It was 2:47 a.m. on a Tuesday when my phone burst, jolting me out of a groggy half-sleep. In that blurry moment between consciousness and dreams, I saw her name flash across the screen. Miranda. 10 years. A decade of shared mourns, arguments, over whose turn it was to take out the trash, the laughter when we got lost on road trips, and now this, just married. Jeremy. You're pathetic, by the way. My fingers shook as I opened the attachment. The image that loaded was a punch straight to the gut. Miranda and her coworker grinning under the garish glow of pink neon. Wedding attire be damned. They held a marriage certificate like a carnival prize, drunken and triumphant. My stomach clenched. I stared at that picture for what felt like an eternity, but was probably no more than 30 seconds. I could almost hear the echo of her laughter, see the arrogance in her eyes. The betrayal smeared across her face like lipstick she applied just for this moment. All those nights I stayed late at the office to cover for her when she was too exhausted. Every credit card bill I paid. The house deed in my name. The car registration. I signed without a second thought, trusting that we meant us. But she had forgotten that we also meant me. I set my jaw and typed one word, cool. It felt inadequate, but it was enough. It was my declaration that I wasn't going to plead or beg. I wasn't going to send her a string of self-pitying texts or call the police claiming emotional distress. All those years I funded over promises. Now she would taste the real thing, not empty words, but decisive action. I slid out of bed, every muscle alive with a single ironclad purpose: to erase her. I dressed quickly in jeans and a hoodie, the fabric rough against my skin but a perfect shield for what came next. I lit a cigarette for the first time in years, inhaling the acrid smoke and letting it steal me. I glanced around our shared bedroom, Miranda's favorite silk pillowcases, the framed photo of our wedding, the half-unpacked boxes from our last move. None of it mattered anymore. Everything belonged to me, and I intended to take it back. My first call was to the bank. I need all cards in my name only. I told the teller, voice steady. Close every joint account. Revoke her privileges. I didn't mention my wife had married someone else at 2:47 a.m. I simply cited safety concerns. Within minutes, the bank froze her credit, rerouted automatic payments, and flagged any suspicious transactions. Next was the car dealership. I want her removed as an authorized driver, I instructed, providing the dealer with a copy of the certificate I had lying on my desk. The old agreement was null and void. I crossed that line out with a flourish. By 3:15, as the sky was beginning to lighten, I was wired, not with anger but purpose. I called a 24-hour locksmith, a hulking man with tired eyes who gave me a nod that spoke volumes. No questions. $300. Later, I held new keys in my hand. The telling satisfaction of changing locks at 3:45 a.m. has a clarity no marriage fallout can match. I drove home in silence, the city's deserted streets rolling past like an audience to my metamorphosis. At 5 a.m., I changed the locks. The stale sin of our shared life evaporated when I slammed the door shut behind me. All access revoked, physical and financial. I stood in the empty hallway, listening. No footsteps, no pleading voice, just the quiet hum of dawn breaking over the horizon. I pocketed the old keys. They might have been hers this morning, but by sunrise, they were worthless. At 5:05 a.m., I slipped back into bed, exhaustion finally catching up to me. For the first time in years, I slept like a baby, undaunted, unburdened, and entirely free. The chapters of my life with Miranda had closed exactly when I wanted them to. I didn't need apologies or explanations. She had declared her choice in Vegas, and I had declared mine right back in our bedroom. Cool. That single word was all I needed. And in that decisive moment, I knew I meant it. By 3:15 a.m., The adrenaline that had pulsed through my veins since the Vegas text finally settled into a fierce clarity. I was no longer dazed by betrayal. I was galvanized by the mechanics of undoing 10 years of joint ownership. Miranda had never understood logistics, how bank authorizations worked, whose name the mortgage sat under, or how auto titles remained, ironclad in the original registrant's name. I did. I'd handled every bill, every account, every detail, trusting that us meant a team. Now, I would apply that knowledge to dismantle everything she took for granted. I sat at my kitchen table, the overhead light humming in the stillness, and made a list. First, revoke her access to our bank accounts. Second, remove her as an authorized driver on my car. Third, change the locks, both digital and physical. Fourth, cancel her credit cards. Fifth, reroute any mail or packages addressed to both of us. Sixth, block her email and phone, as official account notifications would come to me only. I read each item aloud, savoring how the words revoke and cancel tasted in the silence. The bank came first. I dialed the customer service number, calm and collected. I'm the primary account. Holder, I said, providing my social security number and date of birth. My wife, Miranda, last name, was recently married elsewhere. I need to remove her as an authorized user, freeze any pending transactions under her name, and reissue my cards immediately. The teller hesitated, likely searching policy guidelines, but the corporate language was on my side. Proof of identity, plus a clear statement of unauthorized activity. Within minutes, her cards were canceled, and I was told new ones would arrive at my address only. Next, the car. Our shared vehicle, a sleek SUV we leased 5 years ago, sat in the driveway, gleaming under the street lamp. I called the dealership's 24-hour service line. I'd like to revoke any secondary drivers on my lease agreement, I explained, sending a scanned image of the marriage certificate for proof that she had legally made herself unavailable under our contract. As of 4 a.m., of course, only I held the right to operate or refinance the vehicle. I pictured her pulling up in that driveway later and being denied entry, the engine's hum replaced by a cold engine block. The locksmith arrived at 4:15 a.m., a burly man in a reflective vest who eyed me without judgment. He asked no questions beyond, "Same locks? New keys?" I nodded. He worked in silence, his tools clicking and whirring like a mechanical heart. New deadbolts slid into place, and a new keypad blinked to life. By 4:45, the old keys were useless. I pocketed the spares and handed him a crisp bill with